My name is Alice Jordan. I'm 31 years old. 9 weeks ago, I gave my own father my left kidney and saved his life. On November 23rd, at his big recovery dinner, my mother stood up with a huge smile, raised her glass, and said, "To Natalie, my incredible daughter, the one who saved your father's life with her fundraiser." 22 relatives exploded into cheers and applause. Not a single person looked at me. I sat there with a fresh 6-inch scar burning on my side, 9 weeks of unpaid medical bills, an empty bank account, and a body that will never be the same, while my own mother erased the kidney I donated like it never happened. Then my father suddenly grabbed my wrist under the table, eyes filled with shame, and slid a napkin toward me. What I read on that napkin changed everything. And when my mother and sister finally found out the truth weeks later, our entire family didn't just break. It exploded. If you're watching this right now, please hit subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single one. But first, let me take you back 31 years, to the beginning of being invisible in my own family. I work at Bright Futures Education Fund. It's a small nonprofit in Charlotte that helps first-generation college students navigate financial aid. My salary is $36,500 a year. I live in a studio apartment 20 minutes from my parents' house. My mother invites me over maybe 5 times a year. My sister Natalie is 36. She's the VP of Operations at Jordan Medical Supply Company, the business my father founded in 1998. She makes $185,000 a year. She has a husband, 2 kids, a house in the suburbs, and my mother's undivided attention. When Natalie joined the company in 2015, my mother said, "Finally, someone who understands what legacy means." Nika, I had just finished my master's degree in healthcare administration. No one asked if I wanted to interview. I stopped going to family events in 2023, the annual Christmas dinners where I sat at the kids' table even though I was 30. The birthday parties where my mother forgot to get me a card. The company milestones where I wasn't invited because it's really just for employees and board members. But on July 20th, 2025, someone still had my number. My father collapsed at the company's 27th anniversary gala. 200 people, black tie, speeches about growth and innovation and family values. I wasn't invited. I learned about it from a LinkedIn post Natalie made the next morning. At 9:47 p.m. that night, my cousin Julie texted me, "Your dad collapsed. They're taking him to Presbyterian Hospital. Thought you should know." I was eating leftover pasta in my apartment, watching a cooking show. I changed clothes and drove 25 minutes to the hospital. I arrived at 10:31 p.m. My mother and Natalie were in the ER waiting room, heads close together, whispering. When my mother looked up and saw me, her face didn't show relief. It showed annoyance. I walked over. "How is he?" "They're running tests," my mother said. Her tone was flat. "It's his kidneys. We're waiting for the nephrologist." Natalie barely looked up from her phone. I sat 3 chairs away from them. No one spoke to me. 45 minutes later, a doctor came out and spoke directly to my mother. I strained to hear. "Stage 4 kidney failure. He needs a transplant within 6 to 8 weeks, or he'll be on dialysis for the rest of his life. We'll need to test family members for compatibility. Living donor is ideal if we can find a match." My mother glanced at Natalie. "We'll do whatever it takes." I wasn't included in we. At 11:58 p.m., the doctor let us see him briefly. My mother and Natalie went in together. I waited. When they came out 10 minutes later, my mother said, "You can go in if you want, but don't tire him out. He needs rest." I walked toward his room. I could hear my father's voice. Weak. "Is Alice here?" My mother didn't answer him. I pushed open the door. My father was hooked to monitors, IV lines, oxygen. His skin looked gray. When he saw me, tears filled his eyes. "I thought you'd come," he said. "Of course I came, Dad. Your mother said. She said you were probably busy, that you don't really stay involved with family stuff anymore." I understood then. My mother had been telling him I was the one who pulled away. "I'm here," I said. I took his hand. "I'm not going anywhere." He squeezed my fingers. "They said I need a new kidney. I don't want to ask you kids to. I'll get tested, Dad. Tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow." "You don't have to." "I want to." As I left, I passed my mother and Natalie in the hallway. I heard my mother whisper to Natalie, "She'll probably test and then back out. You know how she is with commitment." I kept walking. My hands were shaking. The next morning, I called the transplant coordinator at Presbyterian Hospital. "My name is Alice Jordan. My father, Kenneth Jordan, was admitted last night with kidney failure. I want to get tested as a living donor. Can you come in this afternoon at 2 p.m.? "I'll be there." I didn't tell my mother or Natalie. A week later, on July 28th, I got the call. "Ms. Jordan, you're a compatible match. Blood type O positive, tissue compatibility 98%, excellent kidney function. You're an ideal donor." I sat in my car in the hospital parking garage and cried. Relief and dread mixed together. I called my father directly. "Dad, I got tested. I'm a match. I want to donate." His voice broke. "Alice, you don't have to." "I know, I want to." There was a long silence. Then, "Your mother's going to have opinions. Let her." 2 days later, my mother called a family meeting at their house. My father, my mother, Natalie, and me. My mother opened with, "We need to discuss Kenneth's transplant options." I said, "I'm a compatible donor. I'm willing to donate." Silence. My mother stared at me. "You tested without telling us?" "I wanted to be sure first." Natalie said, "I was going to test this week." A lie. She hadn't scheduled anything. My mother turned to my father. "Kenneth, what do you think? Do you want Alice to do this?" "If she's willing," my father said quietly. "If she's a match. I don't want to wait for a cadaver donor. The list is 2 years long." My mother's jaw tightened. "We could find another living donor. A friend. A colleague. Someone who isn't your daughter." I looked at her. "Why? I'm a perfect match. I'm willing. What's the problem?" My mother looked me straight in the eye. "The problem is, you've never finished anything difficult in your life." I drove home in silence, but my father called me that night. "Alice, if you're sure, then let's do it. I trust you." 3 days later, on August 5th, Natalie called me. Rare. "I've been thinking," she said. "Since you're donating, I want to do something to help. I'm organizing a fundraiser. Kidney disease awareness. We can raise money for research and offset Dad's medical costs." I felt uneasy, but I said, "That's nice of you." "I'm thinking a charity gala. Company sponsors. I can get local news coverage. Turn this into something positive." "Will the fundraiser mention that I'm donating?" "Of course. It's all about the family coming together." But Natalie's tone was already shaping the narrative toward herself. A week later, I Googled Natalie Jordan fundraiser. I found the preliminary event listing, Natalie Jordan Pierce Kidney Health Initiative, supporting the Jordan family. My name appeared nowhere in the description. On August 18th, I had my final pre-op psychological evaluation with Amy Brennan, the hospital social worker. Standard questions about my support system, my motivations, my understanding of the risks. Then Amy asked, "Have you felt any pressure from your family to donate?" I paused. "No, this is my choice." "And do you feel seen by your family? Appreciated for this decision?" I paused too long. Amy made a note. After I left, Amy wrote in her file, Donor psychologically sound but family dynamics concerning. Mother's language about patient minimizing and dismissive. Flag for post-op monitoring. That same afternoon, my mother came to Amy's office. I didn't know this until much later, but it happened. September 14th, the night before surgery. I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through Natalie's Instagram. Photos of her at fundraiser planning meetings. Captions like, "Doing everything I can for Dad." I felt a knot in my stomach. At 11 p.m., my father called. "Alice, are you awake?" "Yeah, Dad." "You can still back out. No one will blame you." "I'm not backing out." "When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to be in pain. Real pain. And I'll be okay because of you. I'll never forget that." I took a breath. "Promise me something, Dad. Anything. Don't let them erase this. Don't let Mom turn this into something it's not." There was a long pause. "I won't," he said. "I promise." September 15th, 2025, 5:30 a.m. I arrived at the hospital in the dark. My mother and Natalie were already in the pre-op waiting area. I saw Natalie on her phone. I heard her say, "Yes, the surgery's today. I'll post updates." "No, we're keeping it private for now, but I'll have a statement ready after the fundraiser." She was already planning how to frame the story. At 6:15 a.m., I was in a pre-op gown with an IV in my arm. My father was wheeled past my bay on his way to his operating room. We made eye contact. He mouthed, "Thank you." Dr. Priya Sharma, the surgeon, explained the procedure one final time. 4 to 5 hours. Laparoscopic if possible. You'll wake up in recovery. Expect significant pain. My mother and Natalie stopped by my bay for 30 seconds. My mother said, "Good luck." Natalie said, "You're so brave." Then they left. The anesthesiologist told me to count backward from 10. I got to 7. I woke up at 2:17 p.m., searing pain in my left side. I tried to call for a nurse, but my throat was too dry from the breathing tube. I heard machines beeping. I realized I was alone in the recovery bay. For the next 6 hours, nurses checked my vitals every hour. Minimal interaction. At 4 p.m., a nurse mentioned, "Your father came through surgery well. He's in ICU recovery. Your family's with him now." I said, Can someone come here?" "They're focused on your dad right now. I'll let them know you're asking." No one came. At 8 p.m., a different nurse, her name was Beth, came in. She looked at me for a long moment. "Honey, do you have someone you want me to call? You shouldn't be alone after major surgery." "Oh, my family's here," I said. "They're just with my dad." Beth's face changed. "Your mom and sister, they've been in your dad's ICU room since 3 p.m. They know you're awake, right?" "I think so." "Want me to go get them?" "No, it's okay. He needs them more." Beth looked at me. "That's not how this works, sweetie." At 9:30 p.m., my mother finally appeared at the foot of my bed. "They're moving you to a room," she said. "Kenneth's stable. Everything went well." I asked, "How is he?" "Better than expected. The kidney started working immediately. Dr. Sharma said it's a perfect match." I waited. My mother said, "Get some rest. We'll check on you tomorrow." She left. No one had said thank you. At 2:50 a.m. on September 16th, my door opened quietly. My father was in a wheelchair, pushed by a night nurse. He had an oxygen tank. He looked weak, but he was there. "I told them I needed to see you," he whispered. The nurse said, "5 minutes. He's not supposed to be out of ICU." My father wheeled his chair close to my bed. He took my hand. He was crying. "I see you, Alice," he said. "I've always seen you, and I'm going to make this right." I was crying too. "Dad, it's okay." "It's not okay. It's never been okay. The way your mother..." The way I let her. I'm going to fix it. You don't have to. Yes, I do. I should have done it 34 years ago. As the nurse wheeled him back, he said over his shoulder, "Tomorrow morning, some people are coming to see me. A social worker and a lawyer. I'm taking care of something." I was too medicated to understand. I fell asleep. What I didn't know was that at 11:30 a.m. the next morning, September 16th, 2025, my father signed a document in his ICU room. Amy Brennan, the social worker, was there. Russell Walsh, an estate attorney, was there. Dr. Sharma was there as a witness. My father, still weak but completely lucid, signed a durable power of attorney for healthcare. He changed his medical proxy from my mother to me. It was witnessed, notarized, time-stamped. I didn't know. 2 days later, on September 18th, he signed another document, a life insurance beneficiary change form. Northwestern Mutual Policy Number NM-8834201, $2.3 million. The beneficiary had been my mother for 18 years. He changed it to me. On September 20th, he signed a third document, a restricted stock transfer agreement, Jordan Medical Supply Company. My father owned 68% of the company he'd founded. He transferred 51% of voting shares to me. On September 25th, that transfer was filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State. I knew none of this. I was home, alone, trying to recover. The first 2 weeks were bed rest. I couldn't lift more than 5 pounds. I couldn't drive. I couldn't reach the plates on the top shelf of my kitchen. I couldn't carry my laundry down the stairs. I slept 16 hours a day. No one offered to help. My mother called once. "How are you?" "Managing." "Good. Kenneth's kidney function is 95%. Perfect." She hung up. On day 10, Natalie texted, "How's recovery? Fundraiser planning going great. So excited." Week 2, my boss Jennifer called. "Alice, we need to talk about your leave. We don't have paid medical leave for this long. You're at 2 weeks unpaid." "How much longer?" "The surgeon said 6 to 9 weeks total. We can hold your position through 8 weeks. After that." I realized I could lose my job. Week 3, I tried to work from home. I could manage 2 to 3 hours before exhaustion hit like a wall. Week 4, I developed a fever. 101.2 degrees. I went to the ER, another $1,200 after insurance. I started calculating my costs. 9 weeks of unpaid leave. $6,300 in lost wages. My insurance deductible, $2,500. Non-covered pre-op tests, $890. The ER visit for the infection, $1,200. Prescriptions, $340. Total out of pocket, $11,230. My savings account had $3,100 before all this. I was now in overdraft. -$200. I applied for a medical hardship payment plan, $200 a month for 12 months. I had no idea how I'd pay it. Meanwhile, Natalie's fundraiser was everywhere. Local news, local executive leads, kidney health fundraiser, company LinkedIn posts, Instagram stories. The event was scheduled for October 15th at Cedarwood Country Club. I wasn't invited. One article mentioned supporting the Jordan family's medical journey. My name was not mentioned once. Week 4, I had a follow-up with Dr. Sharma. She looked at me carefully. "You're healing well physically," she said. "But you seem... Are you getting support at home?" "I'm fine." The social worker noted some concerns before surgery about your family dynamic. "If you need resources..." I said I'm fine. After I left, Dr. Sharma sent an email to Amy Brennan. "Follow up on Alice Jordan post-op. I'm concerned." In week 6, I finally opened a letter my father had sent me. It contained a check for $2,000. The note said, For your medical expenses, I know it's not enough. I'm sorry I can't do more right now without raising questions. Dad. I stared at the phrase, without raising questions. What did that mean? I deposited the check. It covered 18% of my debt. Week 7, Week 8. I'd been avoiding social media during recovery, but in early November, a coworker sent me a link. It was Natalie's Instagram. The fundraiser had happened on October 15th. 150 guests, silent auction, speeches. Natalie's post showed her holding an oversized check, my mother in an evening gown beside her, my father in a wheelchair, smiling weakly, Natalie's husband Drew in a tuxedo. The caption read, "Overwhelmed with gratitude. Together, we raised $83,200 for kidney disease research." My father's journey inspired this, and I'm honored to lead this initiative. Family is everything. There were 2,156 likes. The top comment, "You're amazing, Natalie. What an incredible daughter." I scrolled through the photos, 23 pictures from the event. I appeared in one, far in the background, blurry. You could only tell it was me because I recognized the blue cardigan I'd worn. I read the fundraiser fine print. All proceeds benefit the National Kidney Foundation, tax-deductible donations, sponsored by Jordan Medical Supply Company matching program. I called the National Kidney Foundation. I'm inquiring about a donation from the Natalie Jordan Pierce Initiative. Yes, we received $83,200 in October. Wonderful contribution. Who gets the tax credit for that? Individual donors receive deductions. Corporate matching is credited to Jordan Medical Supply Company. My company, my father's company, had gotten a $41,600 tax write-off. I searched for Jordan Medical Supply PR 2025. I found a press release dated October 18th. JMSC demonstrates corporate social responsibility with $41,600 matching donation to kidney health. VP Natalie Jordan Pierce spearheaded initiative aligning with company values. I searched Natalie's LinkedIn. She'd updated her profile. New headline, VP of Operations, Healthcare, Advocate, Nonprofit Fundraising Leader. I found an industry publication from October 22nd, Rising Stars in Medical Supply, Natalie Jordan Pierce's Leadership in Crisis. The article quoted her, "In times of family crisis, true leaders emerge." I knew I had to step up and transform our personal challenge into an opportunity for community impact. I read that sentence 5 times. My father was 64. He'd planned to retire at 65. Succession at the company had been unclear for years. This fundraiser wasn't about my father's medical costs. It was Natalie's CEO audition. On November 15th, 2025, 9 weeks after my surgery, Dr. Sharma cleared me for normal activity. Permanent restrictions, no contact sports, kidney monitoring every 6 months for life. I can never donate an organ again. Slightly higher risk for hypertension. I was finally cleared to return to work full-time. That same day, I received a text from my mother. Family dinner Sunday, November 23rd, post-Thanksgiving, to celebrate Kenneth's recovery. 6 p.m., Ashford Hall. Private room. 22 guests. Cocktail attire. Be there. No, please. No, thank you for donating. Just be there. I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Then I typed, "I'll be there." I didn't know that dinner would change everything. On November 20th, I went shopping for a dress. I'd lost weight during recovery. Nothing fit. I bought a navy dress for $89. It stretched my budget. The dress showed my scar when I moved. 2 inches of pink raised tissue above the neckline. I considered returning it. Then I decided, let them see what this cost. On November 22nd, the night before the dinner, I couldn't sleep. At 10:17 p.m., I called my father. Dad, I need to know. Is Mom going to mention the donation at dinner? Long silence. Alice, I can't control what your mother says, but I can control what happens after. Please trust me. Come tomorrow. Will you say something about the donation? Come tomorrow, that's all I can say. His voice was shaking. After we hung up, I sat in the dark and looked at my navy dress hanging on the closet door. 22 people. A celebration. A toast. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time they'd see me. November 23rd, 2025. 6:08 p.m. I arrived at Ashford Hall. The private dining room was called the Sterling Room. Long table set for 24. 2 people didn't show. There were name cards at each place setting. I found mine. Position 18 out of 22. I was seated between my cousin Tom, I'd met him maybe once, and my cousin Julie. At the head of the table, my father. To his right, my mother, then Natalie, then Natalie's husband Drew. To his left, my father's sister Margaret, then his brother James. I was at the far end, nearly out of sight. Julie whispered, "Why are you sitting down here?" "I don't know. Mom did the seating chart." Of course she did. From 6:15 to 6:45, there was a cocktail hour. Appetizers were passed. I stood near the table holding a glass of water. I was still on pain medication. I couldn't drink alcohol. Natalie was near my father's chair showing people photos of the fundraiser on her phone. My mother was hugging relatives, working the room. No one approached me except Julie, who whispered, "We need to talk after this." And Diane Foster, my father's assistant of 28 years, who made eye contact with me from across the room and mouthed, "I'm sorry." And Natalie's 8-year-old daughter Sophie, who walked up to me and said, "Aunt Alice, why do you have that scar?" "I had surgery, sweetie." "Did it hurt?" "Yes." "Mommy says you should cover scars at fancy dinners." I forced a smile. Sometimes scars are important to show. Natalie overheard. Her face flashed something. Guilt, maybe. For half a second. Then it smoothed over. She pulled Sophie away. "Come here, honey, let's get you some shrimp." At 6:42 p.m., my mother tapped a spoon against her glass. "Everyone, please take your seats. We're about to begin." I walked to position 18. When I bent to sit, I felt a sharp pain in my left side. Still healing. I winced. Julie noticed. "You okay?" "Fine." The table filled. My father was wheeled to the head by venue staff. He was stronger now, but still used a walker for short distances. He made eye contact with me down the table. His eyes looked sad and determined. I nodded at him. My mother sat. She smoothed her napkin. She looked satisfied. Natalie sat. She glanced at me once, then looked away. Appetizer course was served. Butternut squash soup. I couldn't eat. My stomach was tight. My mother stood. She tapped her glass again. "Everyone, before we order entrees, I want to say a few words about why we're here tonight." She was standing, all eyes on her. 3 months ago, she said, we almost lost Kenneth. Stage 4 kidney failure. The doctors said without a transplant he'd be on dialysis for the rest of his life. It was the scariest moment of our family's life. She paused. Let it breathe. But in that darkness, one person stepped up. One person showed extraordinary leadership, compassion, and strength. My heart started pounding. I knew where this was going. That person, my mother continued, organized a fundraiser that brought our entire community together. She raised $83,200 for kidney disease research. She coordinated with teams. She held this family together when I was falling apart. I looked at my father. He was staring at his plate. His jaw was clenched. Natalie's face looked... I couldn't tell if she was surprised or if she'd rehearsed this. My mother raised her glass. So please join me in raising your glasses. She turned toward Natalie. She smiled. To Natalie, my incredible daughter, the one who saved your father's life. My father's sister Margaret tried to speak. Claire, wait. I thought, but my mother talked right over her. To Natalie. 22 glasses rose. To Natalie. Clink, clink, clink. The sound of glass on glass moved around the table like a wave. My glass stayed on the table. I couldn't move. Natalie stood. She dabbed at her eyes. The tears looked real. Thank you, Mom, she said. Her voice broke. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but Dad is worth it. Family is everything. Applause. Natalie hugged my mother. Drew, her husband, stood and clapped. He didn't know. He thought the fundraiser was the main contribution. He wouldn't learn the truth for weeks. Sophie and Lucas, their kids, clapped because that's what kids do. My father's hand stayed flat on the table. He wasn't clapping. My cousin next to me said, "Your sister is amazing. You must be so proud." I couldn't speak. I just nodded. My vision was blurring. She might as well have said, "My real daughter." That's what I heard. I stood up. My chair scraped back. Several people looked. I was heading for the door. And then my father's hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. His grip was strong despite his weakness. I stopped. The entire table was watching now. My father's eyes locked on mine. He was crying. Without speaking, he slid a folded napkin across the table toward me with his other hand. He whispered, only I could hear, "Read it. Please. Don't leave yet." I picked up the napkin. My mother said, "Alice, are you all right?" I looked at her. My voice came out cold, controlled. "I'm fine, Mom. Just processing how generous Natalie is." I sat back down. I unfolded the napkin in my lap. Below the table, out of sight. I read it. The handwriting was my father's. Shaky, but clear. I changed the medical proxy back to you September 16th. Life insurance $2.3 million. Your sole beneficiary. Filed September 18th. The business. 51% voting shares transferred to you. Executed September 20th. Filed with state. September 25th. They don't know yet. Attorney Walsh has everything. I'm sorry I waited so long. I see you now. Dad. I read it once. Twice. 3 times. I looked up at my father. He nodded. Barely. I folded the napkin. I put it in my purse. I took a deep breath. Dinner service began. I ate mechanically. Conversation flowed around me. Relatives congratulated Natalie. Asked about the fundraiser. About her leadership. I said nothing. At 8:45 p.m., dinner ended. I stood. I thanked my mother. Thank you for hosting. I hugged my father. I'll call you tomorrow. I walked out. In the parking lot, I sat in my car. I pulled out the napkin. I read it again under the dome light. My hands were shaking now. He changed everything. The day after my surgery, September 16th. While I was alone in recovery, he was signing a medical proxy. September 18th. The life insurance. September 20th. The shares. While they were planning Natalie's publicity stunt, he was transferring power to me. 51% voting shares. That's majority control. $2.3 million. That was supposed to be my mother's security. Medical proxy. That's decision-making authority if he can't speak for himself. They don't know yet. My phone rang. My father. I answered. Dad. Did you read it? Yes. And? Why did you wait so long to tell me? His voice was quiet. I needed you to see what they would do. At dinner. I needed you to witness it. So you'd know you're not crazy. So you'd know this wasn't in your head. They erased you. On purpose. I was crying now. Use the power, Alice. Fix what I broke, or burn it all down. Your choice. I'll support you either way. I drove home. At 10:15 p.m., I checked my phone. I'd missed a call. Russell Walsh, the attorney my father had mentioned. There was a voicemail. Ms. Jordan, Russell Walsh returning your call. Yes. I've been waiting to hear from you. Your father said you'd reach out after the family dinner. I can see you Monday, November 25th, at 9 a.m. We have quite a bit to discuss. Everything your father executed is ironclad. Witnesses, notarization, proper filing. I'll walk you through it all. See you Monday. I played it 3 times. Ironclad. Waiting to hear from you. After the family dinner. My father had planned every step. Monday, November 25th, 8:55 a.m. Walsh and Associates, 14th floor, downtown Charlotte. Russell Walsh was 58. Gray hair, kind eyes, but sharp. Ms. Jordan, thank you for coming. Your father speaks very highly of you. I said, he's never said that to me directly. Walsh smiled slightly. He said that too, that he owes you 34 years of words he didn't say. He's trying to make up for it now. He gestured to a chair. Before we begin, I need to confirm. You donated your kidney to your father on September 15th? Yes. And at the family dinner Saturday, your mother toasted your sister for saving his life? Yes. Walsh nodded. Your father told me that would happen. He said, she needs to see it herself. Otherwise, she won't believe how bad it is. He was right, wasn't he? I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Walsh opened the first folder. Let's start with what your father did, when he did it, and why it's legally unassailable. He slid a document across the table. Durable Power of Attorney for Healthcare, signed September 16th, 2025, at 11:30 a.m., one day after your surgery, witnessed by Dr. Priya Sharma, your ICU attending physician, and Amy Brennan, hospital social worker, notarized by the hospital notary. I stared at the signature line, my father's handwriting, shaky but clear. Dr. Sharma's signature, Amy Brennan's signature with a hospital stamp, a notary seal. Walsh continued. This replaces the previous power of attorney, which named your mother. You now have full authority to make medical decisions for your father if he's incapacitated. Why did he change this? He's healthy now. Walsh looked at me. He said, and I quote, if I have another health crisis, I don't trust Claire to choose what's best for me. She'll choose what's best for her image. Alice will choose what I would want. He opened the second folder. Northwestern Mutual Policy Number NM-88342001. $2.3 million death benefit. Original beneficiary, Claire Jordan, 100%. Beneficiary change form signed September 18th, 2025. New beneficiary, Alice Jordan, 100%. He slid the form across the table. This only requires the policyholder's signature. Your father didn't need your mother's permission. The change is already processed with Northwestern Mutual, effective immediately. I stared at the form. So, if he dies, you receive $2.3 million. Your mother receives 0. That policy has been in place for 18 years. Your father paid $6,200 annually. Your mother thought she was the beneficiary the entire time. This will destroy her. Walsh's voice was even. That's not my concern. My concern is executing your father's wishes. He was very clear. Alice saved my life. Alice gets the policy. He opened the third folder. Jordan Medical Supply Company, Restricted Stock Transfer Agreement. Your father owned 68% of the company he founded. He executed a transfer of 51% voting shares to you. Kenneth retains 17% non-voting. Dated September 20th, 2025. Filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State on September 25th, 2025. He showed me the filing, official state seal, filing number NC-2 025-88291. My name in legal print as majority shareholder. Your mother owns 25% non-voting shares. Your sister owns 7% non-voting. You now have majority voting control. You can appoint board members, remove officers, make operational decisions, approve budgets, fire executives, including your mother and sister. I felt dizzy. Now, Walsh said, you might wonder why your sister didn't discover this sooner. The filing is public record, yes. But your father, as chairman, controls when the board is formally notified of major shareholder changes. He timed it perfectly. They'll find out right before the quarterly board meeting in December. He gave them just enough rope. I looked at Walsh. They don't know? Your mother and sister have no idea. Unless they check the Secretary of State database, they won't know until you tell them. Or until you use the power. Walsh handed me a sealed envelope. Your father asked me to give you this after you saw the documents. I opened it. 2 pages. Handwritten. Alice, I've been a coward for 34 years. Your mother trained me. That's what I tell myself. But the truth is, I let her. I chose peace over you. I chose her approval over your dignity. When you were 12, you found a photo album in my study, pictures of my sister Julie. She died in a car accident in 1982. She was 19. You look exactly like her. Same eyes, same smile, same spirit. Your mother couldn't look at you without seeing Julie, without being reminded that I had loved someone before her, someone I lost. She resented that. So she erased you. And I let her. I told myself I was keeping the peace. I told myself you were strong enough to handle it. I told myself Natalie needed more attention because she was fragile. I lied to myself for 34 years. I sent you money. $200 here, $500 there. Over 8 years, I sent you $28,000. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's all I could do without your mother auditing me. She controlled the accounts. She controlled everything. Except this. When I woke up the day after surgery, September 16th, 2025, and they told me you had given me your kidney, I broke. I realized I had spent 34 years choosing my wife over my daughter, choosing my comfort over your worth, choosing silence over truth. I can't undo 34 years, but I can give you the power I should have given you from the start. The shares give you control. Fire your mother if you need to. Protect the company I built. Or sell it and be free. I'll support whatever you choose. I just needed you to have the power I should have given you 34 years ago. I love you. I'm sorry. Dad. I was crying. Walsh pushed a box of tissues across the table. He sat quietly while I finished reading. Finally, I looked up. What do I do now? Walsh said. That's up to you. But I'll tell you what your father told me. Wait until they show you who they really are. Then act. I wiped my eyes. They showed me Saturday night. Walsh nodded. Then you know what to do. Saturday, November 29th. My mother called Northwestern Mutual to update her mailing address. The agent said, I'll need to verify beneficiary information. That's me, Claire Jordan. Ma'am, according to our records, you're no longer the beneficiary on this policy. The change was effective September 18th. My mother's voice went sharp. That's impossible. Who's the beneficiary? Alice M. Jordan. Silence. Then, there must be a mistake. No, ma'am. We have the signed beneficiary change form. Would you like me to mail you a copy? My mother hung up. She called my father immediately. I heard about this later. She was screaming. You changed the insurance? Behind my back? After 42 years of marriage? My father's voice was calm. It's done, Claire. Alice is the donor. Alice gets the policy. You changed it without telling me. Like you erased her at dinner without telling her she'd be invisible? We both made choices, Claire. I'll contest this. You can't. I'm the policyholder. I don't need your permission. My mother hung up. She immediately called her attorney. Monday, December 1st. Natalie was preparing materials for an executive committee meeting. She was reviewing the updated board packet. She saw it. Shareholder registry, updated September 25th, 2025. Kenneth Jordan, 17% non-voting. Claire Jordan, 25% non-voting. Natalie Jordan Pierce, 7% non-voting. Alice M. Jordan, 51% voting. Natalie read it 3 times. Then she grabbed the filing, drove to my parents' house, and burst into my father's study. What the hell is this? She doesn't know anything about the business. She works at a nonprofit making $36,000 a year? My father looked at her calmly. She's my daughter, and she saved my life. You threw a party for yourself. I raised $83,000? You raised your profile. Alice gave me her kidney. Natalie's voice cracked. So you're punishing me for not being a genetic match? I'm rewarding her for being invisible for 34 years while you took everything. That evening, Natalie went home. My mother was there. They sat at Natalie's dining table, surrounded by documents. My mother said, "The life insurance is his to control. I can't contest it unless I prove incompetence or coercion. Neither applies." Natalie said, "The shares. Can we challenge the transfer?" "Not legally. He's the founder. He can distribute however he wants." "So Alice just gets the company? Everything?" My mother's voice went cold. "Unless we make her fail. If she tries to run it and destroys it, the board can vote her out. She has 51%, but if she's incompetent, we can build a case." "So we wait for her to screw up?" "No. We make sure she screws up. We undermine every decision. Turn the staff against her. Leak to industry press that the company's in chaos. Make her look incompetent. And then?" Kenneth realizes his mistake and takes it back. From the doorway, Natalie's husband Drew spoke. "You're planning to sabotage your own sister?" Natalie turned. "She's sabotaging us. Dad chose her over his wife and his competent daughter." Drew's voice was quiet. "No. Your dad chose the daughter who gave him a kidney over the daughter who took credit for it. There's a difference." He walked away. That was the first crack in Natalie's marriage. December 2nd. My mother called me. Her voice was ice. "We need to talk about your father's decisions." "What about them?" "You manipulated a sick man into signing over his assets while he was medicated and vulnerable." "I didn't manipulate anyone. I didn't even know until after dinner." "Convenient story. You donate a kidney, play the martyr, and cash in. Very calculated." I'm hanging up now. "You think you can run Jordan Medical? You'll destroy it in 6 months. And when you do, we'll take it back." I looked at my phone. "Is that a threat, Mom?" "It's a fact. You're out of your depth. You always have been. We'll see." I hung up. I texted Russell Walsh. "They know. Both of them. What do I do next?" He responded immediately. "Schedule board meeting. Exercise your authority, or they'll assume you won't." But I needed one more thing first. On December 5th, I called Presbyterian Hospital Medical Records Department. "I'm requesting a complete copy of my medical records from my living donor surgery, September 15th through discharge September 22nd. We can have those ready for pickup in 3 business days, $25 processing fee." "I'll pick them up." Sunday, December 8th. I went to the hospital. They handed me a thick manila envelope. I got home. I opened it on my kitchen table. Surgical notes, discharge summary, medication lists, post-op care instructions, and stapled in the middle, Ethics Committee Review, August 20th, 2025. I started reading. My heart was pounding. There was an incident report, dated August 18th, 2025, 2:15 p.m. Claire Jordan, patient's mother, presented to my office requesting consultation. Mrs. Jordan stated, "Is there any way to delay this donation or find another donor? Alice isn't stable enough for this." When asked to clarify, Mrs. Jordan stated, "Alice has emotional issues. I'm worried she's doing this for attention. She doesn't have the maturity for this kind of decision." I explained the donor had passed all psychological evaluations. Mrs. Jordan insisted I look closer at the donor's mental state. Per protocol, I documented this conversation and reported it to the Transplant Ethics Committee. Amy Brennan, LCSW. I kept reading. Ethics Committee Meeting Notes. August 20th, 2025. Committee interviewed donor Alice Jordan separately. Donor is fully informed, psychologically stable, and donating voluntarily. Mother's concerns appear to stem from controlling family dynamics rather than legitimate medical issues, proceeding with donation as scheduled. Mother's attempt to interfere is noted in file. I sat there for a long time. My mother had tried to stop the donation. She went to the hospital social worker 3 days after I tested compatible. She tried to label me emotionally unstable. She wanted them to find a different donor. She tried to stop me from saving my father's life. The next morning, December 9th, I called the hospital. I asked for Amy Brennan. Social work, this is Amy. Ms. Brennan, this is Alice Jordan. I received my complete medical records yesterday. There's an ethics committee report from August. About my mother. Can you explain this to me? There was a pause. Yes, Amy said carefully. I can discuss your own medical documentation with you. Those are your records. My mother came to your office on August 18th. Yes. She tried to stop your donation. She said you weren't emotionally stable. I documented it and reported it to the ethics committee per hospital protocol. Why? Amy's voice was gentle. Alice, I want you to know. The committee saw right through it. We interviewed you separately. You were completely sound. Your mother's attempt to interfere was unusual. In 15 years doing this work, I've seen families pressure donors to donate. I've never seen a mother try to stop a daughter from saving her father's life. I closed my eyes. Can these records be used in other contexts, like corporate governance? They're your medical records. You can use them however you need to. They're time-stamped, signed, official hospital documentation. Thank you, Amy. You documented this when it mattered. Good luck with whatever you're planning, Alice. I hung up. I had everything I needed. December 16th, 2025. 2 p.m. Jordan Medical Supply Company. 4th floor conference room. Quarterly board meeting. 7 board members. My mother as CFO. Natalie as VP of Operations. My father as Chairman Emeritus. Me as majority shareholder. First time I'd ever attended. Also present. Philip Garrett, company attorney. Jessica Palmer, HR director. 3 department heads. I arrived in a navy blazer and white shirt. The hospital bracelet from September was still on my wrist. I'd kept it. I wore it on purpose. My scar was visible above my collar. I carried a folder. I walked to the head of the table. My mother was already sitting in the chair I was heading for. I didn't say anything. I just stood there. She moved. I sat down. My mother said, "Alice, you're not usually at these meetings." I looked at her. My voice was calm. "I'm the majority shareholder now. I thought I should start attending." Silence around the table. Board members glanced at each other. Natalie started to speak. That's not. I slid the corporate filing across the table. Filed September 25th with the North Carolina Secretary of State. You can verify it yourself. I hold 51% voting shares. Douglas Carter, one of the board members, looked at my father. Is this true, Kenneth? My father nodded. Yes. I transferred shares to Alice in late September. It's legal and final. I opened my folder. Before we proceed with the agenda, I need to correct something in the October board minutes. I looked at my mother. Mom, you told this board that I convinced Natalie to match donors when discussing Dad's recovery. My mother's face was stone. I said you were supportive. No, you said Natalie organized a fundraiser that brought the family together through a difficult medical journey. You implied Natalie was central to Dad's recovery. I pulled out documents. Let me correct the record. I slid papers across the table to Philip Garrett, the company attorney. I donated my left kidney to my father on September 15th, 2025. Here's the hospital discharge summary. Here's my donor compatibility report. 98% match. Tested July 28th. Here's the surgical record showing living donor nephrectomy. I pulled my collar down slightly. The scar was fully visible now. I lost 9 weeks of work. I have permanent medical monitoring for life. I have $11,000 in out-of-pocket costs. I have the scar. Board members stared. My mother's face was white. Natalie was looking at the table. My father's eyes were closed. At the family recovery dinner on November 23rd, I continued. My mother toasted Natalie for saving Dad's life. 22 people raised their glasses to my sister. No one mentioned my name. I sat at position 18, wearing this scar, invisible. Douglas Carter was reading the medical documents. His face changed. I pulled out more papers. I also have documentation that my mother attempted to prevent my donation. I slid Amy Brennan's incident report across the table. The Ethics Committee notes. August 18th, 2025. My mother went to the hospital social worker and asked if there was any way to delay this or find another donor. She stated I wasn't stable enough. She said I had emotional issues and was doing it for attention. The Transplant Ethics Committee investigated and cleared me. My mother tried to stop me from saving my father's life. Jessica Palmer was taking notes. Her hand was shaking. Douglas Carter looked at my mother. Mrs. Jordan, is this accurate? My mother's voice was tight. That was taken out of context. I was concerned about Alice's well-being. The social worker documented your exact words, I said. The Ethics Committee concluded your concerns stem from controlling family dynamics, not legitimate medical issues. Niti. That's in the official hospital record. Philip Garrett, the company attorney, spoke carefully. Claire, did you attempt to interfere with a medical procedure? My mother didn't answer. I let the silence sit. Then I stood. Which brings me to why I'm here today. I'm exercising my authority as majority shareholder. My voice was steady. Effective immediately, I am removing Claire Jordan from her position as Chief Financial Officer, pending investigation into financial management and ethics violations. My mother stood. You can't. I can. I have 51% voting authority. Company bylaws. Article 7, Section 3. Majority shareholder can remove officers with or without cause. Philip, can you confirm? Philip looked at the bylaws. That's correct. I turned to Natalie. Natalie Jordan Pierce, you have 48 hours to choose. Option 1. Accept a new role as senior manager, special projects, at $92,000 annual salary. Option 2. We discuss a severance arrangement. You have until Thursday at 5 p.m. to decide. Natalie was crying silently. I'm taking operational control until we hire an external CEO board. I'm requesting a vote to approve these changes. As majority shareholder, I technically don't need approval, but I want it on record. Douglas Carter spoke. I move to approve the removal of Claire Jordan as CFO and restructuring of the executive team. Jessica Palmer said, "Second." Philip Garrett said, "All in favor?" 5 hands went up. My father abstained. 1 board member, my mother's longtime ally, abstained. Motion carries. I picked up my folder. Meeting adjourned. Claire, please collect your personal items from your office by end of day. Natalie, report to Jessica by Thursday with your decision. Everyone else, thank you for your time. I walked out. I didn't look back. Behind me, the room erupted. I heard my mother's voice, shrill. "Kenneth, how could you let her?" And my father's voice, firm for the first time in 34 years. "I let her fix what I broke." The next week was chaos. My mother moved out of the family home on December 17th. She stayed with Natalie. She hired an attorney to contest the share transfer. Her attorney reviewed the documents and called her on December 19th. "Mrs. Jordan, these documents are ironclad, witnessed, notarized, properly filed. You have no legal grounds to challenge them. If you contest this, you'll lose and pay legal fees. My advice, don't." On December 19th, Natalie's husband Drew came home from work. A colleague had mentioned something to him. "Did you know your sister-in-law donated the kidney?" Drew was confused. "What?" "Natalie organized the fundraiser." "No. Alice Jordan donated. It was in the board meeting documentation that leaked." Drew went home. He found Natalie in the kitchen. "Why did I just find out from a colleague that Alice donated the kidney? I stood at that dinner and applauded you. I looked like an idiot." Natalie's voice was small. "It's complicated." "Complicated? You let your mother toast you for your sister's kidney donation. You let me think you were the hero. What the hell is wrong with you?" That was the beginning of the end of their marriage. On December 20th, Natalie met with Jessica Palmer to make her decision. Option 1, senior manager at $92,000. Option 2, severance. Natalie's pride wouldn't let her quit. "I'll take the demotion. I'm staying." On December 23rd, Christmas Eve, I received a certified letter. My mother was filing for divorce from my father. I called him. "Dad, I'm sorry." His voice was calm. "Don't be. This should have happened 20 years ago. I'm finally free." December 30th, 11:14 p.m. There was a knock on my apartment door. I opened it. Natalie was there, drunk, mascara running, coat over pajamas. "What are you doing here?" She pushed past me. "I need to talk to you." She collapsed on my couch. She was crying. "She made me this way, Alice. Mom. She told me since I was 6 that I was the special one, that I had to be perfect, that you were Dad's mistake." I stood there. I didn't sit. "Do you know what it's like?" Natalie's voice was breaking. "Being the good daughter? Every A, every achievement, every promotion, it was never enough. She always needed more. And you were free. You got to leave. You got to be yourself." "I wasn't free," I said. "I was erased." "I know. I know that now. But I didn't see it then." She looked up at me. Her face was wrecked. "I didn't know she tried to stop your donation, I swear." When Drew showed me the board meeting documentation, when I read what she did, I threw up, Alice. I threw up. My own mother tried to stop you from saving Dad's life. I sat down. Not next to her. Across from her. "The fundraiser," Natalie said. "She told me to do it." September 17th. 2 days after your surgery. She said, "Natalie, we need to control the narrative. If Alice gets credit for this, she'll use it against us." I said, "Against us? She saved Dad." She said, "She'll hold it over our heads forever. We need a counter-narrative." So you threw a party. I threw a party. I took credit. I let you disappear. And when Drew found out, he looked at me like I was a monster. She wiped her face. My therapist. I started seeing one after the board meeting. She said I've been emotionally abused by Mom my entire life. That being the golden child is its own kind of prison. But Alice, that doesn't excuse what I did. It explains it. It doesn't excuse it. No, I said. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. I looked at her. My sister. For the first time in years, I actually looked at her. She was broken too. Just differently. You're still demoted, Natalie. And I can't be your sister right now. Maybe not ever. But I hear you. And I believe you're sorry. That'll have to be enough. She nodded. She stood to go. At the door, she turned. Can I ask you something? What? Why did you do it? Donate the kidney? After everything we did to you? I thought about it. Because he's my dad. And I loved him. Even when he didn't protect me. Even when he let her erase me. I loved him. That doesn't go away just because people hurt you. Natalie's voice was barely a whisper. You're better than me. No, I just made different choices. She left. I closed the door. I leaned against it. And for the first time since all of this started, I let myself cry. Not from pain, from relief, from grief, from exhaustion. My cat Pepper came and rubbed against my legs. I picked her up. I sat on the floor, and I cried. On January 15th, 2026, I hired Patricia Hodges as the external CEO of Jordan Medical Supply Company. She was 52. Former VP at Cardinal Health. 25 years in medical supply. Clean reputation. No ties to my family. The board approved unanimously. I transitioned to board chair. I kept my 51% shares. I took a salary of $95,000. I also kept my part-time job at Bright Futures Education Fund, 20 hours a week. I loved the work. I wasn't going to give that up. I used the company's salary to pay off my medical debt. All $11,000. And I started building savings for the first time in my life. I also created something new. The Living Donor Support Fund. Jordan Medical Supply would contribute $50,000 a year to help living donors with medical costs. The first recipient was a woman named Rachel. She was 28. She'd donated a kidney to her brother. She'd lost her job during recovery. I handed her a check for $5,000. She looked at me. You did this? Someone should have done it for me. Now we do it for others. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, I met my father for dinner. Just the two of us. A small diner near the hospital, where all of this had started. Are you okay? He asked. I'm getting there. Are you? I'm proud of you. I should have said that more. I looked at him. You should have said it 34 years ago. He nodded. I know. We ate in silence for a moment. Then I said, I don't forgive you yet. For all those years. But I'm trying to understand. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want to know you're going to be okay. I'm building something new. The company. The fund. My life. I'm not invisible anymore. He reached across the table. He put his hand on mine. You were never invisible to me. I just didn't know how to make you visible to them without losing everything. You chose wrong. But you chose right in the end. That's something. He told me then that he and my mother had signed a legal separation agreement the week before. The divorce will finalize after the required 1-year separation period. December 2026. How do you feel? Free, terrified but free. I smiled slightly. Good. You should be. March 12th, 2026. 3 months after the board meeting. 4 months after the dinner. 6 months after the surgery. I still work at Bright Futures part-time. I'm still board chair at Jordan Medical Supply. The company is stable. Revenue is up 8%. Morale has improved. My mother lives in Tampa, Florida now. We have minimal contact. The separation is ongoing. The divorce is pending. Natalie works as a project manager at a different medical company in Charlotte. She makes $78,000 a year. She's in therapy twice a week. Marriage counseling with Drew. I don't know if they'll make it. We haven't spoken in 3 months. My father is healthy. His kidney function is stable at 92%. He lives alone in a small apartment. He sold the family house. Split the proceeds with my mother per the separation agreement. We have coffee every Sunday. I moved to a 1-bedroom apartment, $1,350 a month.